rules shall not apply in respect to Rule 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, subsection 1, 16, and 97. And now, therefore, be it resolved by Parliament that Rule 24, 128, 129, subsection 2 and 5, 201, and 133, subsection 4 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament 2017 be suspended under Rule 16 of the Rule of Procedure of Parliament 2017, and the bill entitled the Parliamentary Election Amendment Bill 2020 be read for the second time without the procedure as prescribed in those rules. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Now, members, is it seconded? Seconded by several members. Justified? Honorable Nwagaba.
Madam Speaker, I had thought at the last meeting you had made a ruling to the effect that this matter comes by way of a bill amending the particular article of the Constitution. And I don't know whether that particular position still holds or that ruling has since been vacated.
Honourable members, the rule in the provision of the Parliamentary Elections Act is the same provision in the Constitution. Therefore, we can proceed. Honourable Gwar, justify.
Right Honorable Speaker, this Parliament is fortunate that the remnants of the people that participated in the constitutional making process are still around. And I happen to be part of that remnant. And therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, I stand here to say that during the constitutional making process, we were congested with too many urgent matters that we dealt with the most obvious when it comes to special interest groups. And that included the youth, the women for affirmative action, the workers, and the disabled. Little did I know that the elderly are suffering quietly without bitterness. Little did I know it needed the legal empowerment for the government to focus on the welfare of the elderly. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm saying this not because I've reached my age. That is a blessing of God that God has given me. But I'm speaking on behalf of millions of people who have reached the age of 60 and above, who are elderly, who require special care, and there is no legal framework, and there are no special lobbyist group and club that they can resort to explain their unique situation, Right Honorable Speaker. And let me give you the most obvious. Even those who are older, who are younger than me, when you walk from the reception coming down, the staircase are too long, to the extent you feel something is pulling you downwards. And definitely when you reach the age of 50, 60, 70, if you are lucky like me, somebody should have thought of some facilitation where an elderly like me would hold on to a bar and move downstairs or move upstairs. But all this, Right Honorable Speaker, I believe that if we have some legal framework in place, even Parliament will be a little bit more sensitive than they have been as of now. So, Right Honorable Speaker, this bill speaks for itself. It was an oversight. Fortunately enough, I'm here. I stand as a testimony that this is the age group, this is a special interest group that ought to have been taken care of right from start. It is important, Right Honorable Speaker, that the House should not be polarized because of this. Yes.
Clarification, Honorable Okupa.
Madam Speaker, if I got Honorable Cecilia Ogwal correctly, that the elderly start from the age of 60 and above, because I also know that is the age stated by the UN. Madam Speaker, if that is the case, I think the elderly are the most represented, because if you look at the head of the judiciary, head of the executive, the head of the prime ministers, they are all above that age. So the elderly are highly represented, Madam Speaker. So is it right for you to say that the elderly, if they were to start from the age of 60, are not represented, yet they are the ones representing all the three arms of government? She brought it right. And two, if that's the case, why did we have to put SAGE to start at 80? Because possibly that's why I would be thinking of the age of the elderly would qualify. But if you say 60, I think they are highly represented.
Honourable members, do not digress from the subject. The SAGE issues are different. But conversely, there are many members of this House who are below 35 in their own right. So you cannot use that argument against the elders. Please complete. Where is Honorable Ogwal? Please conclude.
Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Cooper is definitely very sensitive about this matter, and he knows that his uncle, who happens to be my husband, has reached that age limit, and they keep calling on him all the time to check how he's doing. So that is how much the young generation must care for the elderly. Right Honorable Speaker, the message we have here, there must be a serious focus on how the elderly should be handled. Even when we talk about the age, Right Honorable Speaker, I've spoken on this floor several times that even for sake, and you have added your voice on that, even for sake, we are not happy that the cutoff point is 80. Because like from my area where I come from, for someone to reach 80 is very rare. So I believe that with this legal framework in place, the government will definitely now reconsider moving the cutoff point to 65 as it is in Karamoja. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move, and I plead with my colleagues to please support the elderly, please support your parents, please support the people who are around you in your constituency who need special care, and we can only give them special care if we have a legal framework. I beg to move.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Honorable Sabunya? Sabunya, Minister for... but you are the author. Honorable Vero, Honorable Swaka. Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank Honorable Cecilia Ogwal for bringing the motion to allow the elderly to be represented in Parliament. The number of Member of Parliament in the August House notwithstanding, the elderly, as we talk now, are being elected right from the village. That means they are elected at the village, at the parishes, at the sub-counties and town councils, at the districts, and the only missing link is being represented in Parliament. I think that is a gap that was left, and we think that this is the high time and the right place to allow them to be represented in the August House. Apart from that, the elderly have unique issues to the extent that at least every member of parliament carries a burden of looking for the pension of the elderly people in this house. We are always looking at the minister, please solve the pension issues. There is a time we released 180 billion, and we thought we had solved the problem of the arrears in pensions, but that was not enough. There are many pensioners still crying out to government that were left out, and their money has never been paid, and there is no focal office for us to give these issues. Even when we're going to go to the Ministry of Public Service, at times they refer to the district that we have decentralized. When you get the districts, they'll tell you, please refer the matter back to. So, but we need people to focus this matter of pension, of, like they have said, of SAGE. SAGE is at the moment stopping at 80 years, but that is a temporary measure because of the resource envelope that government has. And we always agree, because we have many things to do, that sometimes we need somebody to sit here in parliament to only focus on that. The elderly in other countries have special houses. We are urbanizing at a terrible speed. The Bazukuru can no longer keep the elderly. They need houses that we shall need to collect them in urban areas and focus on them and feed them and give them proper health services. Because recently when they were distributing food around this COVID time, I saw very old women in Mizigo with the Bazukuru that cannot even look after they need the Bazukuru need the judges to look at them, but after some time the judges can no longer look after themselves. So we need such houses to be built of the elderly, and we need somebody of that age to really focus on the matter. The pension itself is not enough. We need to focus other resources, and that can only be comprehended by the elderly in parliament. Right, Honourable Speaker, as I conclude, we gave chance to the youth, we gave chance to the physically challenged, we gave chance to soldiers. The women are here on affirmative action, majority of them. So it's high time, Honourable Speaker, that we gave chance to the elderly to come and comprehend their own issues and their unique way.
Veronica? Okay, Honourable Swaka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker and honourable members, the issue of representation here in Parliament is a critical issue. And the old people are the ones who have paid too much tax than some of us who are young here. The worst scenario is when these people retire, their pension sometimes is eaten by mafias, and no one is there to talk for them, Madam Speaker. During my mobilization tour for these upcoming campaigns, Madam Speaker, the elderly people were happy with this Parliament that the proposal is coming. Madam Speaker, age is wisdom. In Butaleja, for example, if an elder tells you something or advises you, it's for the betterment of society and yourself. So when we have these elders here, I think even our behaviors, where you saw during age limit people are fighting, that one will not happen. Because when members are elected as elders, they will be respected. So, honourable members, I want to request that we put the issue of the elders in force here at Parliament so that they are also represented, because their living had been ignored. So, Madam Speaker and honourable members, I request that the issue of the elderly be put. And since campaigns have started, Madam Speaker, I requested members that this thing be handled now and for all, so that the elders know that they are in the race and they compete favorably. I want to thank you for God and my country.
Honorable Iragu. Veronica Iragu. You are seconding?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to support this bill. There is a saying in most of these interest groups that nothing for us without us. So the representation of the elderly people is very important. They come here, join us in this struggle, in the development of the whole country, and there is that hidden encyclopedia that they come with to support us in this Parliament. And Madam Speaker, the number that is prescribed is so little that it has no dent in our budget, it has no dent in our numbers, and I really support that this interest group of the people approved and they join the Parliament of Uganda. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Now, members, I put the question that the question be put. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Aye. And now put the questions that Rule 24, Rule 128, Rule 129, Sub-Rule 2, Rule 129, Sub-Rule 5, Rule 201, Rule 133, Sub-Rule 4 be suspended. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Aye. Serve it. Bill second reading.
Bill's second reading.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and honorable members. I'm moving the Parliamentary Elections Amendment Bill 2020, Bill number 24 of 2020 for the second reading under Rule 129, Sub-Rule 1 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Parliamentary Elections Amendment Bill 2020 be now read for a second time.
Is this supported? Yeah. Okay. Supported by several members. Okay. Question.
The main objectives of this bill are A, to provide for the inclusion of older persons as a special interest group in Parliament under Article 78(1)(c) of our Constitution. B, to provide for 5 representatives of the older persons in this Parliament. C, to operationalize Articles 32(1) and 78(1)(c) of the Constitution. And D, to provide for the manner of election of representatives of older persons in Parliament by Electoral College. Madam Speaker and honourable members, in the past, older persons were not included among the special interest groups represented in Parliament to participate in the governance of Uganda, whereas during the constitution-making process, the people of Uganda emphasized that one of the main principles that should govern the composition and functioning of Parliament is participatory democracy and inclusiveness. And the Honourable Cecilia was very clear on that. The salient points, Madam Speaker, in the bill make provision for A, amending Section 8, Subsection 2 of the Parliamentary Election 2005 to include in the composition of Parliament 5 representatives of older persons, at least one of whom shall be a woman, elected on the basis of our 4 regions. 2, that the electoral college within the region of representation and all members of a district council for older persons within each region shall constitute an electoral college for the election of the representative of the older persons in parliament for that particular region. C, the qualifications for election of representatives of older persons are at least 60 years of age and also qualified to be a member of parliament in terms of Article 80 of our Constitution and Section 4 of the Act. D, the elections of a representative of older persons for each region be done by the Electoral Commission. And E, also the election of the female representative for the older persons. Madam Speaker and honorable members, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Parliamentary Elections Amendment Bill 2020 be now read a second time.
Thank you. I invite Honorable Asamo, Honorable Kotogong, Honorable Achon, 3, and then, okay, yeah, A. You'll come last. Honorable Gong should be getting near the podium when she finishes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I come here to support the second reading of this motion. People who are elders have been already existing. I am a member of the special interest groups, and Madam Speaker, you know that we have a Ministry of Disability and Elderly, but the elderly have been missing. It has been more pronounced with people with disabilities. I want to say, Madam Speaker, the elders out there have a lot of challenges, and I want to support the motion for bringing their representation. You can be here, for example, I'm a woman, but it's on a rare occasion that I will talk about issues of women. I talk more of people with disabilities because that is my area. So being old does not mean that now you are looking at those areas. Madam Speaker, looking at somebody of 60 who is in the village is not like the 60 who is in an executive position. Really, there are challenges. For example, many of them have very many grandchildren to take care of. Maybe the children have died of AIDS and all these other things. Sometimes these people have not been respected in many areas. When they come to functions, and people look at them like people who are already written off, and yet these people have a lot of ideas to give to us. Madam Speaker, when you go to Karamoja, the elders are given a lot of high respect. But in many parts of Uganda, we are beginning to lose respect to the elders. I would think that when these people come to Parliament, they will be able to come up with policies which support, for example, there are illnesses which attack people who are elder, and they are usually common. Some of them even move into disability. And I think that's what Honorable Cecilia was saying. Moving on the steps becomes a problem. But they are not yet people with disabilities. Some of them are not even able to read and understand. Right, Honorable Speaker, there's an issue of the forgetfulness. I think there are specific issues that we need to get that representation. And I want to encourage that we get to know how many of them will be women and how many will be men. This is an urgent issue, and we just need to finalize the policy arrangement. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Sam. Honorable Kotogo, followed by Honorable Achon, and then Honorable Sereko.
I appreciate the bill that has been presented by government to include the representation of elders in this parliament. Madam Speaker, I'm speaking at the point of planning. In Uganda right now, the population structure is sitting on its base. But in 20 years to come, the structure will change and it will stand on its head. That means we are going to have more elderly persons in Uganda. And therefore it is imperative that as Parliament, we prepare early so that we plan for the elderly, those who have worked, those who have lost energy, that needs to be supported. And therefore, Madam Speaker, the role of Parliament is to make laws for the good governance of this country. And if we are Parliament that thinks of the governance of this country and our people, therefore this bill is very important. I suggest, Madam Speaker, that all members of Parliament should support this bill because we are all going to age. Right now, we are almost going to be in that bracket. And therefore, we need to plan for our people who are elderly. I've moved in my constituency and I've realized that we have serious problems with the elderly. Most of them have lost land because they have given that land to their children. So they have nowhere to farm. Most of them have lost energy. They cannot dig, they cannot do anything that can generate income. And yet they don't have any source of income. And therefore, Madam Speaker, when we pass this bill, I am of the opinion that we need to come with another bill that will the issues of the elderly. Madam Speaker, one time when I was the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, I visited the Parliament of Singapore. And when I visited them, they were discussing a bill concerning the elderly. How to look after the elderly, the responsibility of the children to look after their parents. And it is mandatory, and there's sanction in it. When you have your parent and you don't look after your parent, you are prosecuted under the law. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I support the elderly to be in this Parliament because it is the right thing to do. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Chon. Then Honorable Nsereko. Maybe Chekamondo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm here to support the motion. Honorable Speaker, I would like to talk about some few challenges where the older people are facing in the rural area. Last week, Honorable Speaker, I had a tour in my constituency, Otuke. I found one of the problems which people had, the national identical registration which they had, they made a mistake where some of these older people, they didn't know their ages. One lady came to me that she didn't know the time they were registering, either she was 18 years old or 19, but she looked to be 80 plus. So, Honorable Speaker, a lot of older people who are there, they are having challenges. For the case of men, some of them who by good luck or by chance they had several wives or family, they are about to die because they have so much responsibility. Whereby I have to support, and I would ask the Parliament to reduce their responsibility as they come to represent their colleagues, because they might not be having energy to move around if they have a wider places to take care. Madam Speaker, I would also argue for the government to make sure that they should find a way of paying these people as soon as possible. But most people in our country, like for instance in the northern, we really don't have 80 years old people. Because of the war, you find 55 or 60 is almost looks like 80. So we should consider this kind of bill as we support. Thank you.
Nsereko, then Chekamondo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. Honorable Members, of course, this is a catch-22 scenario. Why? By prescription, law and practice, at the lower levels of governance, the elderly people have been represented. And when you talk about discrimination, it will appear that they are only discriminated in representation at parliamentary level. However, there are two things to caution. That as we open up a Pandora box of groups to be represented, we must walk the talk as the future will come calling. Before us is a court ruling that we all know that has called upon the diaspora to start voting. Are we now going to start talking about and discussing the issue of representations of Ugandans in the diaspora in this August House? Because the question will also be that there are another group of special interest that contribute to our national budget, our remittances, and whatever we can talk about. Therefore, the best thing to do to plan for, whether today or in the future, is the welfare of these very same persons. The issue of talking about one elderly person representing an entire region, let's say northern Uganda, goodness me, when is he going to reach out to all these elderly people? I know we want their voices here, and no one says no. But if we were to ask now at the moment, the head of state is elderly, the vice president is elderly, the prime minister is elderly, 60% of the cabinet is elderly. Where are the elderly not represented? Is it because that those that are occupying these positions have failed to perform their duty? That the elderly are now lamenting? That's why I say we are in a catch-22. We already set a precedent that has thrown a rope onto us, that at the lower levels, they are represented. At the level of discrimination, it will look discriminatory for them not to be represented in where? In Parliament. But the question should go to the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General. What Pandora box are we trying to open today? Shall we start discussing all other people, the police, the prisons, the people in the diaspora, before you know the farmers, saloon owners, musicians, to mention but a few. Therefore, let us envisage a situation like we talked about in the constituencies, that if we are talking about the issues of affirmative action, then we might not end up closing this window. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, I think it's wrong to legislate in anticipation. Let's look at what is here now. Honourable Chakamondo. But honourable members, I don't know why people think they are going to remain that age. I don't know why people think that they remain that age. It's not possible. No, that's what you are saying. That's what you are saying. Honourable Chakamondo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and honorable members. I stand here to support the motion of having a member of the elderly in the Parliament of Uganda. Madam Speaker, if you look at today, when we had, in most cases when you are in the villages there, and there are situations like this time of COVID, you find that the elderly who have ever experienced such things come up and tell you that in such and such a year, we had this problem, and the way we handled was this way and that way. So the history of activities that have ever happened, when they come at the time when another generation is there, these people come up and give us the guidance. Madam Speaker, when you look at the time of delivery, in most homes where a family is young, a woman has just delivered the firstborn. If the elder is not there to advise, sometimes they end up in problems because they don't know how to manage the situation. Madam Speaker, even the famine today where we have famines going on, it's because we have not respected the elderly. They have been giving us ways of creating food for security. When they talk of food for security today, we have ignored that the foods that our elder people used to have those days so that we could keep our country and our homes with the food all the time. For example, foods like millet, foods like dried cassava, foods like dried bananas that were peeled and they used to keep them. Today, the people have ignored them, ignored even the vegetables that used to work very well. And I think really the elderly, given the situations that they go through and their needs, surely it's the elderly who can put their heads together and bring better. So I beg to support this motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Now, members, what is the motion?
Madam Speaker, I rise to move a motion that the debate closes and the question be put.
Okay. Now, members, I put the question that the question be put. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. I put the question that the bill be read second time. Bills committee stage. Let's go to committee stage, members.
Bills committee stage.
When I call the first one, you stand up, you start here. You start from here. Two.
So at least two. Yeah. So I'll move it there.
Okay, so when I call, you stand up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to listen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, start.
Clause 1.
Now, members, clause 1. Question is a clause 1, stand part of the bill. Yes, Honorable Gwar.
Clause 1, Right Honorable Speaker. Clause 1A, I propose that for older persons there should be at least 2 out of 5, and that will be in compliance with the constitutional provision for 30% representation of women. So at least 2 out of 5.
Honourable members, that would mean that we say at least 2 of whom shall be women. Is that okay? Put the question that clause 1 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 1 as amended.
Put the question that clause 1 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Clause 2, I put the question. Clause 2 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 3.
Clause 3.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. In that clause 8HB, I have a problem with the framing all members of a district council for older persons. What does that mean? Because I thought we were meaning the representatives in the district council for older persons who would form this electoral college. But if we say all members of a district council, it's as if we have a district council for older persons. I just wanted clarification on that. What does that phrase mean?
Minister, there is a council in the district.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think it should read all members of a district council for each region shall constitute an electoral college for the election of the representative of the older person in parliament for that region.
No, I think they're supposed to be elected by their peers. I think should be all members of the Council of Older Persons.
Of the Council of Older Persons.
There is a council. There is a council.
All members of a district council of older persons within each region.
Not district council. There's a council. It's not a district council, there's a council.
No, Madam Chair, I think what they meant, because at the districts we have representatives of elderly persons in the district council. But we don't have, at the district, we don't have a district council for older persons. Yeah, so there's a mix-up. We have council representatives of persons in the district.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair, Madam Chair.
Honorable Anthony.
Madam
Council
Chair,
for elder persons.
there are two different representatives at district level. There are those who are two in number representing the people who are elderly at the district level. That is a different one. And then we have the council of the elders, which is a different one. So it should be clear which one we are meaning when we are talking about this.
You mean the ones who are elected to represent their peers?
So, Right Honourable Speaker, would say that the elderly at the district council will be the ones to elect in that region. Because two per district in the region, two per district will represent, in the region, will represent the college that will elect the elderly persons.
Where is the Minister of Gender? Yes, Honorable Samo.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm aware that there are 5 members who are at the council. And those 5 members at the council, they come right from the village, building that council like persons with disability. So these people are 5, and they are the ones who form the electoral college. Yes, there are 2 councillors. They are elected from the village. So when they come up the village, they are the ones now who elect the district councillor. So that is the group which should elect the elders.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair.
Yes.
Honorable Chair, the elderly are not only represented at the district level. In a district like Mukono and other districts, you find that the elderly are fully represented at the municipality, sub-county, and the town councils or divisions. So the best would have been that all the elderly that are representing administrative units to have it the better, because they have the divisions. There is no way you are going to neglect the divisions or you are going to neglect the municipality when they have elderly people. The two should come from a sub-county, a division, in the case of a municipality in a district, and they form the elderly good team to have their representation. I thank you.
Now, honourable members, I want to propose that we stand over this clause and actually ask our Committee on Legal and the Minister for Local Government to consult over it, and we can complete it tomorrow. That okay? Yes. Yeah. So that we can agree. Yes. Yes, Honourable Ogwal, move the House to resume. Move the House to resume. I want the committee to examine this area. Who comprises the voters? It's important.
Motion for the House to resume.
Where is the Minister?
Madam Chair, I beg to move that the committee of the
House to resume. The House to resume.
I beg to move that the House do resume and the committee of the whole House reports there too.
Honourable members, questions at the House to resume and the committee of the whole House to report there too. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Report from the Committee of the Whole House.
Committee report.
Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered Clause 1 with amendments, passed Clause 2, and stood over Clause 3. I beg to report.
Thank you. Motion for adoption.
Adoption for the report from the Committee of the Whole House.
Speaker, I beg that the report from the Committee of the Whole House be adopted.
Now, members, the question is that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. So now, members, Committee on Legal and the Minister of Local Government and Gender to consult quickly over this matter. We shall complete it tomorrow or on Thursday.
Madam, procedure is just a simple one. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I request that the committee also hand on the same bill, because we have introduced out of 5, 2 should be female. But we have 4 regions. So that means that, there are 4 regions according to this bill. Now, that means that in terms of election, they should guide us, because it means that if they were, when they were 4 and 2 and 1, it was simple to the other regions to have general elections, and whether it is a woman or a man.
Fortunately, we had not dealt with the 8HA. We had not.
Thank you.
So
but they should also analyze that.
The
so
committee
when
will
they
guide
come.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4.
Item 4 on the order paper, statement by ministers. 4.1 on the evaluation of COVID-19 guidelines and responses.
Prime Minister, when will the Prime Minister come to this House? Prime Minister, we have not seen his face for some time. Let's hear from the... Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, it was your ruling in this House about 2 weeks ago that the Minister in charge of Finance will come to this August House and talk about the issue of taxation on apparels and materials, raw materials imported by our traders. Since then, we've not had a response. And the other time when you asked for the responses from the ministers last week, most of them weren't here. Now that he's here, my prayer is that, Right Honourable Speaker, the Minister in charge of Finance gives us a position on how far the issue of taxation has taken course, the issue of taxation on materials and apparels. Thank you.
Honourable members, there is some progress on that area, not from the ministry side, but my side. Next week, I'll be going with the Commissioner of Domestic Taxes to visit this industry and see the samples of the items which are in issue. And then we shall update you. Next week, I'm going with the Commissioner for Domestic Taxes to these the young people who petitioned. We are going there physically. Okay. Thank you. Minister of Health, item 4.2.
Item 4.2. Statement.
Again, they're not here. Okay, on 4.3, honour members.
Item 4.3. Statement on the status of implementation of the parliamentary resolution of 3rd May 2018 on payment of monies owed to Uganda South Sudan traders.
Honour members, on this one, I have summoned the Minister of Finance, the Attorney General, and the Minister of State for Finance, Secretary of the Treasury, to come and meet in my office on Thursday morning to conclude this matter. We'll give you an update on Thursday in the afternoon. Item 5.
Item 5 on the order paper, motion for reconsideration of a resolution of Parliament under Section 7.2a of the Local Governments Act, Cap 243, for alteration of boundaries of Bushenyi Ishaka Municipality.
Thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I beg to move a motion for resolution of Parliament under Section 7(2)(a) of the Local Governments Act, Cap 243, for alteration of boundaries of Bushenyi Ishaka Municipality. Recalling that Bushenyi Ishaka Municipality was created by this August House, and it took effect on 1st July 2010, and that the District Council of Bushenyi under Minutes 22 of 28/19 on the 9th of November 2018 resolved that in Ntungamo Parish, which is currently in Igara East constituency, or in Igara East County, joins Bushenyi Ishaka Municipality from Chizoba Sub-County, because the town has grown beyond the existing boundaries, and the District Council has expressed willingness to expand the municipality boundaries. Noting that the District Council can alter the boundaries of the municipality with the approval of Parliament. Now therefore be it resolved by Parliament that the boundaries of Bushenyi Ishaka Municipality be altered to include Ntungamo Parish from Chizoba Sub-County to Nyakabirizi Municipal Division in Bushenyi Ishaka Municipality, and that this correction takes effect from 1st July 2020. I beg to move.
Members, I put the question that the boundaries of Bushenyi Ishaka Municipality be altered as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Item 6. On the order paper, motion for resolution of Parliament under Section 8(3) of the Parliamentary Elections Act 2005 for review of the representation under Article 78(1)(b) and (c) of the Constitution of Uganda.
Yes, I have it here. When we finish with the review, then I'll call you.
Right Honorable Speaker, as you recall, on the 15th of July 2020, I presented a motion to this House for the review of the representation of special interest groups in Parliament in accordance with Article 78(2) of the Constitution and Section 8(3), Section 8, Subsection 3 of the Parliamentary Elections Act 2005. Section 8, under Section 8, a district or city woman representative and special interest groups of the Parliamentary Elections Act 2005 provides as follows. Section 8, subsection 1, as required by Article 78, Clause 1b of the Constitution, there shall be a woman representative in Parliament for every district or city. Clause 2, there shall be the following representatives of special interest groups in Parliament for purposes of Article 78, Clause 1c of the Constitution. A, for the UPDF, there shall be 10 representatives, at least 2 of whom shall be women. Clause B, for workers, there shall be 5 representatives, at least 1 of whom shall be a woman. C, for the youths, there shall be 5 representatives, at least 1 of whom shall be a woman. D, for persons with disabilities, there shall be 5 representatives, at least 1 of whom shall be a woman. Debate on the motion took place on the same day, on the 15th of July 2020. However, due to lack of quorum, passing of the motion was deferred. Therefore, I request, Right Honourable Speaker, that you proceed under Rule 62, Sub-Rule 2 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament 2017, to put the question to the House. Thank you.
Honorable Moki and then Honorable Goa.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. On that same day when this motion was moved, we did stand on this floor with the representatives of workers, of youths and persons with disabilities, and we had moved that the number of each of these representatives of these interest groups be moved from 5 to 10. We had earlier on, Right Honorable Speaker, written a petition to your office. We had even written another petition to the ministry responsible, and we had justified that proposal on the basis that this House has continued to increase. The time when these interest groups started, for instance, the 3 interest groups operate together with the women. The women at that time, these were 39, and we had 39 women, representatives of women in this House, but the number has now increased almost 3 times. The proportion of these groups have also continued to increase. The youths are now more than 70% of the population. The workers have increased from about 4 million that time to about 17 million now. Initially, we used to have only the representatives of labor unions. We have now representatives of, in the electoral colleges, we have the non-unionized workers, so we have the bigger electoral college. And the same happens with the persons with disabilities. So we had requested, Right Honorable Speaker, that number, therefore, should be increased for each of these groups to match with the UPDF, which is now 10, which has been 10 ever since that time. Not only has the representatives of district representatives for women increased in terms of numbers, but also the representative, the other constituencies. Recently, last week, we increased the number of constituencies by another 46. And this has been happening when we create municipalities and cities. It means that we have more members of parliament from those areas. And then lastly, the committees in this House have also increased. So it has been very complicated for us, representatives of these interest groups who are only 5, to participate in committees, because usually we send 1 person per committee. So it becomes so hard for us to be in the other committees, because you find that we are only 5 and therefore you cannot participate in the committees that are more than 10 in this House. Therefore, if the number is increased, it will be possible for us to be effective. These interest groups will be effective in their representation relating to the issues of their constraints. Right Honorable Speaker, I therefore want to move that resolution in the last phrase be increased by changing 5 in respect of representatives for workers, for youth, and for persons with disabilities, be increased from 5 to 10. Now, the elderly, also there is a question I raised, which will be discussed by the committee. You know, the elderly we are proposing for 5. But we have said that out of those 5, 2 should be women. Now, there is going to be a challenge, because there will be remaining 3. And yet we are having 4 regions. Now, the challenge will be which region must have to elect a woman. So we are also going to have a challenge when it comes to the issue of the persons, of the representative of elderly persons, because it will be difficult to have the 2 women unless if we increase the number to 6, so that the balance remains 4, and therefore is in tandem with the regions.
Are you suggesting that women cannot be part of those other 4? No.
They can, but it becomes complicated.
No.
Because the general ones can be the woman and man.
Right Honorable Speaker, if the Member of Parliament is thinking that complying with that requirement would be difficult, it would be appropriate, therefore, to suggest that let all the 5 be women. Then your problem will be sorted out. Because we are talking about affirmative action. Women are still very low in representation in parliament, representation in the district. Therefore, it is appropriate that all the 5 be women and the men can wait.
Honorable Evelyn.
Madam Speaker.
Now, I wanted to remind the Minister, Deputy Attorney General,
Yes.
on the issue of the UPDF. Before we adjourned last time, we had amended to 3.
To 3,
UPDF.
Yes.
It has to be 3, at least. Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker. May I respond to...
No. You respond later.
Okay.
Let's hear the comments of the members.
The Constitution provides for 3, for 30%. So since the 10 members of UPDF, since the members of Parliament for UPDF are 10, you have rightly said it was amended, and I would like to capture that 3 should be women out of 10. At least 30%. Yeah, at least 4 out of 10 should be women.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker. We talked about 3 last time. At least 3 out of 10. I'd like to request that we maintain what we discussed the other time, that at least 3 does not mean that we shall have only 3. So we maintain at least 3 out of 10 should be women.
Honorable Speaker, I want to give the Chief Whip information. We have observed in a couple of years the female army representation have been very active on the floor of Parliament. And I don't see why you should disadvantage them. Right, Honorable Speaker, if they are 10, at least they're humbly asking for 4. Why would you deny them the 4? They are most active on the floor of Parliament. Right, Honorable Speaker, you are my witness. You know that the lady who has been recently promoted, I'm very grateful. She was promoted. She has been very active. So the female representative on the floor of Parliament are being very active. We must increase their representation in Parliament. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Honourable members, actually, at present there are 3. Honourable Brigadier, whom we congratulate, Honourable Rejea, and Honourable Akot. So there are 3. Therefore, we should improve.
Madam Speaker, also, the person who has presented their cause is part of the UPDF, and they have their own whip. Therefore, not to differ from what Honorable Cecilia Ogwara has been presenting, we should be seen to promote these women in UPDF, and 4 or 5, we can choose from one of that, but 4, by consensus, we all agree on 4. However, right, Honorable Speaker, on the issue of increase,
how did they become 3?
on the issue of increase of numbers as put forward by Honorable Samuel Omoch, I do not agree. We should look at the cost of public administration. Let's find a way of accommodating the women, 3 of them, just like we've said. Out of the 5, accommodate 3, find a way from the one who represents those nationally and those from the different regions. So we should balance the boat and see to it, yes, we must find a way to include these women, but not to increase the numbers, because the cost of public administration will go very, very high. And to know that we are also in a process of increasing even the elderly, the cost will be so high. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, just to also say something in relation to the percentage of women in UPDF, there are some things that, Madam Speaker, we need to consider. Because one, the Electoral College that sends representatives of UPDF, they have some few things that they look at. Two, equally the ratio of women in UPDF. So if we have a number that may be hard for the electoral college that sends those representatives from where to choose, we may find we may hit a dead stone somewhere. So I would equally propose, Madam Speaker, I would propose, because they are saying that the female representatives are very active. It couldn't be true that they are active. I don't want to deny that. But activeness doesn't reflect the number that is represented. We could have 3 when they are very, very active, and it could be sufficient.
For me, I think that... Yes, Honorable.
No, Madam, I was finishing. Then the issue of Honorable Lyomochi, my elder brother, having 10, the other side 10 workers, 10 youth, 10 what? Madam Speaker, let us be sincere. We are the MP, me I'm the MP for the youth in my constituency. Eh? If you ask these MPs, we are representing the views of the youth, we are handling issues of the youth, we are handling the issues of these people. So when we begin having these numbers, tomorrow somebody will come for 20. The other day they will come for 40. Everybody will come with a different figure. So, Madam Speaker, for a certain purpose, let us maintain the 5 as we move on, so that we revise that number when maybe Uganda gets a population of 80 million.
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
on the issue of the number of the UPDF, you're all aware that the female have been very active here. Not only that, they have been in the number of 3. If we are improving their representation here, we have seen how they are operating and how debating here. We should actually increase the number of the female to 4. And that should be our position. We should do something for these women in the UPDF, since they are doing well in the house here. And we have no reason to maintain them at 3. And that is our position, please. I wish members could support this, and this should be our position.
The Constitution of Parliamentary Elections Act. Yes. This is our act, it's not a constitution. This is our act.
Are you look at the constitution?
No, this is the act.
Where has he been? Honorable Speaker, Urakajara, where have you been? Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to support the popular view that we increase the number of women in the UPDF to a minimum of 4. Madam Speaker, I'm saying minimum. And the question should really be put on that matter. Madam Speaker, leave alone participation in the House, even in the Committee of Physical Infrastructure, we have Honorable Lacote. She's been very active, very, very active. Major Simwe here, we have seen her, not only in the House, in the committee, but also when it comes to going to field work. Field work, you find they will be there. They will be there, they will always be there. It's not even a surprise that most of them, since they came to Parliament, have been promoted. Since they came to Parliament, all the women in UPDF have been promoted. That shows you that they have been very active. So, Madam Speaker, no one should really resist the proposal that we increase the number to the minimum of 4, the UPDF representation. And finally, Madam Speaker, on the issue my brother, Honorable Lyomochi, has brought, and it's unfortunate this time, Honorable Lyomochi will not be on your side. I have always supported you on these issues of the workers, but today on this one here, I think let us go with the numbers that we have been able to have. I don't want to mention that you have not been to Kasilo or Serere since you elected the workers' representative. So increasing, I don't know whether it was because the number was small or what. But so I have been representing the workers, the woman MP has been representing the workers, the honorable member for the people with disability have been representing their workers. So we are there to add that number to cure that position. Right, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Okay, honourable members, I support the campaign to improve the representation of the women in the UPDF. However, I've looked at the Constitution and the Parliamentary Elections Act. We are still caught by the two. That's what is in the Act and the Constitution. Yes, then you amend by bring a bill to amend the Parliamentary Elections Act in that area. Secondly, I don't know whether Honorable Riomoki has the certificate of financial implications for those workers, because we gave you time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I'm amending a motion that brought by the government. So I don't need to have a certificate of financial implications.
What is the import of the motion? What is the import of the motion?
I was just amending on the motion that has been brought by the minister. I'm just amending. And we have ever done this in the past.
When you double the number, what happens there? How do you deal with Article 93 on that issue?
No, but technically we can increase as long as the motion has been brought by the minister, and we have done that in the past. Because, Right Honourable Speaker, if you rule that this motion is defective, then that means we shall never increase anything. When the minister brings, it means the Parliament can never move on it.
No,
so long as the motion has been brought by the minister, Right Honourable Speaker, we can vary whether increase or decrease. Yes, the certificate of financial implications and the constitutional provision relates to who introduces the motion, but not whether you can, as a member of Parliament, debate on that motion and either vary certain figures.
So is it introduced on behalf of the government under Article 93? Unless a bill is introduced on behalf of the government, proceed upon a bill including ETC, imposition of taxes, a charge of the consolidated fund. So those additional 5 members, how would they be paid?
Right Honourable Speaker, mine was not a motion. It was an amendment to a motion. I'm just trying to amend.
Okay, the motion belongs to the government. Let them tell us.
Yes, yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, when we presented the motion, I remember clearly the argument raised by my senior colleague, Honourable Riomoki, and Safia Nalule, that the numbers for the disabled and the numbers for workers should be increased to make them proportionate to the average number of members of Parliament. But, Right Honourable Speaker, we did not manage to get a certificate of financial implication for that increase. And because of that, we are unable to pursue the required increase. I beg to submit.
Okay, honourable members, I put the question that the motion be, I put the question be put. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. And I put the question, that the motion be adopted as proposed by the minister. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. I have it. Let's go to next item.
Item 7 on the order paper, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs on the Local Government Amendment Bill 2020 as returned by His Excellency the President in accordance with Article 91(3)(b) of the Constitution and Rule 142 of the Rules of Procedure.
Chair, Committee on Legal. Which one? You have organized? So it will come the report.
We better do it today. Because tomorrow we never know how forum.
You have got your formulation?
Yes, because we have asked the legal team, ministers, and everyone who are behind them.
Right Honorable Speaker,
yes.
I would like to on 25th of July 2019, the government introduced in this Parliament the Local Government Amendment Bill 2019 as part of the electoral reform bills. The bill was accordingly referred to our Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, and the purpose of the bill is to amend the Local Government Act, Cap 243, to provide for the creation of local government and magistrates units at least 2 years before the due date for the next general election. 2, to provide for the demarcation of electoral areas. 3, to prescribe the manner of conducting campaigns. 4, to bar persons not ordinarily resident in a local government area from contesting for councillor for that area. 5, to provide for the procedure for commencement of polls at each polling station and to align the Local Government Act with the provisions of the Constitution as amended by the Constitution Amendment Act 2018. On 4th of March 2020, Parliament passed the Local Government Amendment Bill and was thereafter referred to His Excellency the President for assent. The President, in accordance with Article 91.3b, withheld his assent to the bill and duly returned it to Parliament for reconsideration. Right Honourable Speaker, the content of the President's letter to your good self, dated 25th June 2020, is well within the knowledge of this House and your good self. I will not go into it. And then also, largely the President was, for those who were not there, the President was concerned about the prescribing academic qualifications for the LC3s, chairperson of town councils and the district councillors. And then clause 7 of the bill, which amended section 116 of the Local Government Act by introducing education qualification for district councillors and being ordinary level. His Excellency reasoned that the amendments to Section 111 and 116 of the Local Government Act have the effect of disenfranchising the people of Uganda by limiting them on the choice of leaders they can elect into positions of leadership. And on the amendments of Section 7 of the Local Government Act, the President reasoned that Section 7 is sufficient and should not be amended, since the local governments are created based on people's wishes and requests, thereby making the proposals to Section 7 to be the proposals there to be redundant. Madam Speaker and honorable members, as part of our methodology as a committee, we invited and interacted with the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Attorney General of the Republic of Uganda, the Honorable Elijah Okupa, who moved those amendments during the plenary, and the committee was guided by Rule 142 in considering the concerns of the President, and we would like to report as follows. And Madam Speaker, I want to request that I just go over, since the report is uploaded, I want to go into the main ones. 1, on the imposition of education qualifications on chairpersons. The proposal to amend clause 6 of the bill to introduce education qualification for chairperson of municipal councils, town councils, and division councils were introduced by Honorable Elijah Okuba during the debate at the second reading of the bill on 4th March. The proposal in Clause 6 amending Section 111 of the Local Government Act introduced education qualification for any person who seeks election as a chairperson or a mayor of a municipal council, town council, or division council, other than a chairperson of a sub-county, of a minimum education of advanced level standard or it is equivalent. The committee notes that this amendment had not been referred to the committee, and neither was it the subject of any formal consultation by the committee. During the consultation, the committee undertook on the electoral reforms. I should also note that among the witnesses we interacted with was the Minister of Local Government, who came with the technical team, the PS, and the commissioners. We observed that currently under the Local Government Act, there are no education qualifications for councillors generally in the local government. For chairpersons, the Local Government Act in Section 111(3) imposes education qualification for the district and the city chairperson of a minimum qualification of A level, or it is equivalent. This means that chairpersons of a municipality, town council, division, or sub-county are not required to have any form of education qualification as is provided for under Section 111, subsection 4 of the Local Government Act. The committee further notes that due to their limited functions and jurisdictions, the proposal to impose education qualifications for advanced level is unrealistic. The committee further notes that the imposition of education qualification of advanced level, similar to the qualifications required of a person seeking office of the President, Member of Parliament, district, and city chairpersons, whose functions are broader and complex than those of municipal councils, town councils, or division councils, is unjustifiable. The committee is aware that chairpersons of municipal councils, town councils, or division councils are assisted by competent and highly educated civil servants in form of town clerks, city clerks, and chief administrative officers who are required to possess a minimum qualification of a university degree and not less than 10 years working experience for the COW. This means that LC5 and the COW assist lower local governments in implementing their roles as well as supervising activities of local government. This makes the imposition of education qualification on the chairpersons of these units mentioned above redundant. The committee, however, observes that the imposition of education qualification is not in itself discriminatory as reasoned by the President. Whereas Article 21 of the Constitution requires that all persons are equal before the law, and it specifically bars the discrimination of a person on the ground of sex, race, color, ethnicity, ethnic origin, tribe, birth, creed, or religion, social or economic standing, political opinion, or disability. The imposition of education qualification on all persons without differentiating between them on ground of sex, race, tribe, as enumerated above, is not prohibited by law. Recommendation. The proposal to introduce education qualification against chairperson of a municipal council, town council, or division council should be rejected as explained above. 2. For clarity, education qualification should only apply to district and city chairperson as currently prescribed in Section 111, subclause 3, subsection 3 of the Local Government Act. Clause 6 of the bill should therefore stand part of the bill without any amendment. 2. imposition of education qualification on district and city councillors. The proposal to amend Clause 7 to introduce education qualification for district and city councillors was introduced by one Honorable Elijah Cooper on the date mentioned above during the debate. Originally, Honorable Cooper had proposed that education qualifications apply to all councillors representing a city division, municipal council, municipal division, town council, or district. But when the House considered this matter, a decision was taken to only restrict education qualification to district and city councillors. As earlier noted, this amendment had not been referred to the committee, and neither was it a subject of any formal consultation by the committee during the consultations under the committee undertook. The committee notes that the President returned the amendments to Clause 7 of the bill, reasoning that they have the effect of disenfranchising the people of Uganda by limiting them on the choice of leaders they can elect into positions of leadership. And that is discriminatory and not realistic in some instances, where it requires qualifications of persons in certain offices, yet these people perform different roles, which roles require different competencies. The committee is aware that currently, councillors at all levels do not have academic qualifications, and Clause 7 had proposed to impose education qualification on city and district councillors of a minimum qualification of ordinary level. The committee observed that education qualification for councillors at the district and city councils should be supported in light of the functions and roles they are expected to perform. Section 9 of the Local Government Act directs that a council shall be the highest political authority within its area of jurisdiction and have legislative and executive powers. The roles performed by the district and city councillors necessitate the imposition of some form of education qualification so that persons can perform those functions are the ones who attain such important position in the land. The imposition of these education qualifications is therefore a reflection of the roles and functions of those persons, which include enacting bylaws and ordinances, formulating and passing budgets for the districts, and being in overall administration and management of the district social services. The committee is aware that the medium of communication in all councils across the country is that of English language, or Swahili as prescribed in Article 6 of the Constitution. Documents of council, including minutes of council, are all in English language as prescribed in paragraph 10 of the 3rd schedule to the Local Government Act. In order to comprehend and participate fully in the decisions and deliberations of the council, councillors are required to possess a minimum level of English proficiency. The committee is also aware that councillors, especially at the district and city, are eligible for appointment on district executive committee, which is nominated by the chairperson from among its members of the council as prescribed in section 16 and 18 of the Local Government Act. The committee observed that many times, because of lack of education qualification for councillors, the chairperson of the district is usually curtailed in appointing the chairperson of the district executive committee of the district, who, in accordance with section 18, subsection 2 of the Local Government Act, is supposed to be qualified as the chairperson of a district. This, therefore, means that there must be a councillor who is qualified for election as a district chairperson, capable of being nominated as chairperson of a district executive committee by the district chairperson. The committee notes that because of lack of qualification for councillors, there is always a crisis in situations where there is no suitably qualified councillor eligible for appointment to head the executive committee. The committee, however, observed that the timing for the proposal, so close to the general election, might negatively impact on persons who do not possess the requisite qualifications. The committee observed further that the Electoral Commission has already set out a roadmap for the upcoming 2021 elections, wherein persons who intend to offer their candidature for the various political offices in Uganda have been informed on the processes that have to be complied with before nomination. The time for nomination, campaigns, and elections. Therefore, imposing education qualification at this time will not afford the would-be candidates time within which to organize their candidature, specifically to have all the necessary education qualifications and to verify the academic documents with the mandated institutions, some of which are not operating due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Those who don't possess the proposed qualification will not have time enough to acquire them. The committee was also informed that there are certain parts of the country which might be adversely affected by the proposed introduction of education qualifications. Madam Speaker, these regions like Karamoja, we had members in the committee, and they said it is still a big challenge. The committee is aware that currently in Uganda there are 330 sub-counties without secondary schools. The committee is also aware that there are councils in certain parts of the country where the existing members, except the district chairperson, do not possess the minimum qualification proposed in the bill. In order to assess the challenges, to address the challenges identified above, the committee is of the considered opinion that whereas imposition of minimum education qualifications is necessary, there is need to ensure that the imposition of this minimum education qualification does not adversely affect the operation of councils in the country, as well as unreasonably curtail the enjoyment of persons' right to seek political office, as well as participating in the formulation of policies and making decisions that affect them. In that regard, therefore, the committee considers that adequate time and notification of the imposition of education qualification needs to be given to the citizenry of this country in order to prepare them to comply with the minimum qualification. The committee notes that a period of at least 5 years needs to be given to allow intending aspirants to acquire the necessary qualification. Therefore, this means that whereas education qualification may be imposed as proposed in the bill, we are proposing that it should not commence automatically with the forthcoming general election, but wait to commence with the 2026 general election cycle. Recommendation. The committee disagrees with the assertion of His Excellency the President on this matter and recommends that education qualifications are maintained for district and city councillors. 2, in order to afford persons who do not possess the minimum education qualification adequate time to acquire education qualifications, the committee recommends that the minimum education qualification should take effect from the 2026 general election cycle. The committee recommends that government urgently undertakes a review of education qualification for all elective positions in light of the improvement of literacy levels in the country, with the view of reviewing their upwards for elective positions, including for members of parliament. Reservations of His Excellency the President on Clause 1. The President also had reservations about Clause 1 of the bill, which proposes to amend Clause 7 of the Local Government Act to A, require the consultation of the minister responsible for finance by the minister responsible for local government every time a local government unit or any other administrative unit is being created. B, to postpone election in a new local government unit or administrative unit that is created during the term of a local government council. C, to postpone the immediate commencement of a district or administrative unit created during the term of local government council and to require the same to commence 6 months before the next general election, the next general parliamentary or local government council elections. And D, to require a district or administrative unit to commence by statutory instrument. The President's view on Clause 1 is that the current Section 7 of the Local Government Act is sufficient and should not be amended, since the local governments are created based on people's wishes and requests, thereby making the proposals to Section 7 to be redundant. The committee observes that the creation of districts and administrative units is based, among others, the wishes of the people of that area, expressed by their elected representatives as required in Section 7 of the Local Government Act. The requirement to consult the minister responsible for finance will adversely affect the exercise of the rights of the people to demand the creation or alteration of a district or administrative unit. The committee is also concerned at subjecting the Minister of Local Government's discretion to authorize the creation or alteration of boundaries of districts and administrative units to the wishes of the minister in charge of finance will not only water down and fetter the powers and functions of the Minister of Local Government, but is also redundant in the sense that the creation of districts and other administrative units is a matter that is discussed and authorized by Cabinet, where both ministers sit and participate in the discussions. Recommendations. The committee recommends as follows. A, the proposal in the bill to require the consultation of the Minister of Finance by the Minister of Local Government should be rejected and deleted from the bill for reasons explained above. B, the proposals to postpone election in a new local government unit or administrative unit that is created during the term of local government council and the immediate commencement of a district or administrative unit created during the term of a local government council, and to require the same to commence 6 months before the next general parliamentary or local government council election, as well as require a district or administrative unit to commence by statutory instrument should be maintained. Madam Speaker, I beg to report.
Okay, honourable members.
I have, Madam Speaker, with your leave, allow me lay the minutes of the committee deliberations and also a copy of the report be laid on table. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair and the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. Honourable members, we had a lengthy debate when we were making that law in March, so I think I don't need too much debate. I put the question that the question be put. I put the question that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. The contrary, no. Aye. Put the question that the report be adopted. Those in favor say aye. The contrary, no. Honourable members, with regard to the Local Government Act, especially the qualifications, the original proposals in the bill are hereby reinstated. And we want to urge the President to expeditiously assent to this bill because it has an impact on the elections, in the next general elections. Thank you. Item 8.
Item 8 on the order paper. Motion for adoption of that report.
Before 8. I think before I go to item 8, Minister of Local Government, there was something you did not complete. While we were looking at the resolutions of the House, approving the 48 new counties, the clerk found some inconsistencies in the composition of the newly created West Budama County. Please restate the composition so that the records can be properly captured. Minister of Local Government.
We have agreed with Bahati. Instead of 80s, he's 80. I stand up and move your
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
Right Honourable Speaker, we have considered the district council resolutions and we wish to present the right composition for the newly created county of West Budama Central. It will comprise of the following: Mulanda Sub-County, Mwelo Sub-County, Pajwenda Town Council, Siwa Sub-County, Nabionga Sub-County, and Nabionga Town Council. Secondly, the composition of the newly created West Budama Northeast County is as follows: Nagongera Sub-County, Peta Sub-County, Kisoko Sub-County, Katajula Sub-County, and Nagongera Town Council. Thirdly, The composition of the newly created Rohama East County is as follows: Kitwe Town Council, Nyachera Sub-County, Nyachera Town Council, Rugoho Town Council, Rukoni East Sub-County, and Rukoni West Sub-County. And finally, the composition of the newly created Ruhinda South County is as follows: Kavira Sub-County, Kavira Town Council, Mayanga Sub-County, Rurehe Sub-County, Mutara Sub-County, Mutara Town Council, and Nyachizinga Sub-County. I beg to move for the adoption of the House. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable members, the information from the Minister of Local Government is noted. The record should be adjusted before the resolution is completed. Now, honourable members, I understand there's a small matter which the Chair for Legal wants to amend in the Local Government Act. I think let's go to committee stage. Local Government Amendments Act.
Bills committee stage.
Yes, Chairperson.
Right, Honorable Chair, we had proposed amendments to the clause 1 of the bill. And the proposal is that delete paragraphs A, B, C, D, and E. The justification is that in light of the views of the President to remove the requirement on the Minister of Local Government to consult the Minister responsible for finance every time a district, a lower local government, or administrative unit is being created, since this is redundant in light of the provision of Article 117 of the Constitution. 2, the proposals will also fetter the discretion of the Minister responsible for local government to authorize the creation of a district, lower local government, or administrative unit by subjecting that discretion to the wishes of the Minister of Finance. Thirdly, the proposals will also subject the wishes of the people while creating districts, lower local governments, or administrative units to the wishes of the Minister responsible for finance, yet the wishes of the people are paramount on such matters as prescribed in Article 1 and Article 179(4) of the Constitution. Madam Right Honourable Chair, I beg to move for that amendment of clause 1 accordingly, and then I don't know whether I seek your guidance whether I could proceed to clause.
No, let's do one by one.
Yes, that's one.
Okay. Honourable members, the question is that subclause A, B, C, D, and E of clause 1 be deleted. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 1 as amended.
Put the question that clause 1 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it. Clause 6.
Clause 6 does not, we pray that we want to seek an amendment that clause 6 does not stand part of the bill, does stand part of the bill without amendment. The justification is that in light of the views as expressed above, which are about the qualifications and requiring this chairpersons of local government, of municipal, town council, and division to have qualifications. Madam, Right Honorable Chair, we've already discussed this, and in principle, we pray that Clause 6 remains part of the bill or stands part of the bill without any amendment.
No members?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Anthony.
When you look at the composition of the cities and the town councils, if the thinking was that A level is a higher qualification, I would think it is better for us to lower it to O level, and that would be better, because you have the also those elected leaders to supervise the technical people who are also working within the council. So I think if the problem is that senior 6 is the problem, why don't we come to O level as a qualification?
Honourable members, you did not present that proposal to the committee. I put the question that Clause 6, as originally proposed, do stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 6 as amended.
Question is that Clause 6 as amended do stand, no, it's not amended. The original Clause 6 do stand part of the bill.
That's right.
Yes. Clause 7. 7?
Clause 7 will seek to amend by inserting immediately before paragraph A the following new paragraph. A, in subsection 1, by inserting immediately after paragraph B the following. C, has completed a minimum qualification education of ordinary level standard or it is equivalent. And in addition to that, insert a new subsection 6 immediately after the proposed subsection 5, subsection 5A, as follows. 6. Subsection 1C shall come into force 5 years from the date of commencement of this Act. Justification to impose education qualification on district and city councillors. 2, to postpone the commencement of the education qualification prescribed in the bill to commence in 2025 prior to holding the nomination of the 2026 election cycle. Thirdly, to afford persons who do not possess the minimum education qualification adequate time to acquire the education qualification prior to the election cycle of 2016. My Right Honourable Chair, it was a consideration that we didn't want to leave it, if it was so important for this Parliament, we didn't want to leave it hanging. That's why we are legislating into the future, not necessarily in anticipation.
Yes. Honourable Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to thank the chairperson of the committee, because Madam Chairperson, as he stated, that I was one of those whom they invited to appear. I want to confirm that we did and reconciled that the district, the city, and in fact, I just left out Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Chief Whip. Please leave the chair. Madam Chair, we did reconcile that the district, city, and municipal, the qualifications be adjusted. We, of course, did not agree that it starts 5 years from now. But, of course, for them as the committee, I think they came up with that. I have no objection to that, but only that in his presentation, he has left the municipal, because we had agreed that the district, city, and municipal. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honourable Chair. I am not agreeing with the position of the committee that the issue of the qualification should commence after 5 years. My justification is this. Right Honourable Speaker, the laws that we have do not prevent the educated in contesting for these positions. And Right Honourable Speaker, it is not true that the issue of qualification affects only rural areas, even the urban areas, including Kampala. Right Honorable Speaker, we handled the KCC amendment bill. Now it is an act. But even here at the headquarters, in the authority, people said qualification will not help them. Therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, I am of the view that the issue of the qualification be dropped totally, and also that component of after 5 years be deleted. In future, people will still convene and discuss whether it is relevant or not. And Right Honorable Speaker, when the issue of qualification came, the whole of my district, Adjuman district, there was a total cold. Because, first of all, Right Honorable Speaker, these positions are not yet attractive. Those who are interested are the ones who have low qualifications, who stopped in senior to senior 3, and when this thing came in Parliament, I'm happy that the President rejected this matter. And Right Honorable Speaker, I move that the part of the commencement to be from 2025 be deleted and the conditions surrounding the qualification be left open to be discussed later. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Otieno. Honorable Otieno.
Madam Chair, I also rise to raise an objection to the amendment proposed by the committee. Madam Chair, the imposition of qualification of O-level does not solve any problem. The reason why initially members were arguing that we impose a qualification on the councillors was to cure a situation whereby you find that, like we had in Tororo, where the chairperson dies and you fail to get a person suitable to replace the chairperson before election within the 6 months. Now that the President has said this may create a very unfair situation, Madam Chair, I do not see therefore what we intend to cure by imposing the qualification of a minimum qualification of ordinary level, because it doesn't serve any purpose. I therefore propose, Madam Chair, we do away with the proposal, the amendment proposed by the committee. We leave no qualification as proposed, as returned by the President, so that in the future, if we feel that we have got sufficient qualifications which can enable somebody to attain A level, we can bring it back. After all, they had even wanted it to start 5 years from now. So, Madam Chair, I propose we reject the amendments by the Committee of Minimum O-level Qualification and the other sub-consequential.
So, Chair,
Madam Chair.
Let's hear from the Chair.
Madam Chair, looking at the concerns, and we were also, it was a matter of a great debate. It was a compromise that we took. Now, since the compromise is creating more issues, I seek to concede.
No. Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
No, but now he has conceded there is no amendment.
Yeah, but
there is no amendment now. There is no amendment.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Madam Chair, I remember when we were considering this proposal. The OLGA, the whole Association of Local Government in the whole country, including the mayors, praised us for this decision we took as a house. And it was to improve the level of service delivery and interaction at the district and all levels. Madam Chair, I would still implore the chairperson that the proposal he has given to delay it for 5 years is still good enough. It will accommodate them. Because if indeed, Madam Chair, if indeed people go to school, we are not short of human resource, we are not short of people who have gone to school. We are not. And we are saying we are grappling with issues of debates in the House and all these issues, Madam Chair, let those ones who are politicians and they want to get involved go to school. Let them know that it is a requirement that at a level of some level of education is required, even when you are practicing politics. So, Madam Chair, the position of the chairperson is for me, I support it. Delay it for 5 years, give them room to improve, and then we move on.
There's nothing to support. He has conceded, so there's no amendment to clause 7.
Madam Chair, we are in committee.
Honour members.
Madam Chair, please.
There will be no.
Madam Chair.
No amendment to clause 7.
Order. Madam Chair.
Order.
Madam Chair, we are in committee. Madam
Order.
Chair. Madam Chair.
Order.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'm very much aware the government is very proud for the education they have brought in the country. I am surprised when the president, when the chief whip stands up to say Ugandans are not educated. I am surprised that you think we cannot get O level.
Order.
Council level.
Madam Chair, order.
Madam Chair.
Point of order.
Madam Chair.
Order.
Point of order.
Government Chief Whip.
Madam Chairperson, is it in order for the honourable member holding the floor to mislead this country by misinterpreting the proposal brought out by the committee to allow Ugandans liberty to choose the people that they want? If you want to elect a PH holder, go ahead. If you have an S5 dropout for different reasons, go ahead. If you have an S3 who dropped out, but the community sees his or her potential, go ahead. Is it in order for you to mislead this country that the NRM government is not treasuring education, and that people will not have liberty to choose?
No, it's out of. Honour members, let me remind honour members, it is true that the URGA had a proposal, but the Act of Parliament is made by the Parliament and the President. So one part of the makers has said, no, we don't want this. So let us go by what the committee has said. We remove the qualifications.
Madam Chair, we are part of the committee. The chair is coming up alone. How can he withdraw the position alone?
Can I ask the minister?
He cannot say that he's speaking for and on behalf of the entire
can I
committee.
ask the minister to move for the House to resume? Move the House to resume.
Want to glorify ignorance.
Motion for the House to resume.
How can he withdraw alone?
Madam Chair, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of the Whole House reports thereto.
Honour members, the question is the House to resume and the Committee of the Whole House report thereto. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Motion for adoption of the report from the Committee of the Whole House.
Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker, the Committee of the Whole House has considered the bill and passed clause 1 by deleting some sub-clauses. And clause 6, A, B, C, D, and E, yes, they were deleted. The committee has also decided to maintain clause 6. Clause 7 has been amended.
No. It has
clause 7.
No amendment on 7.
Clause 6 and 7 have been maintained by the Committee of the Whole House. I beg to report, Madam Speaker.
Okay, honour members, motion for adoption.
Motion for adoption of the report from the Committee.
Madam Speaker and honourable members, I beg to move that the report from the Committee of the Whole House be adopted.
Now, members, the question is the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Item 8 on the order paper, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on the National Economy on the proposal by government to borrow up to unit accounts 50 million equivalent to 68.5 million US dollars from the African Development Bank, from the African Development Fund, ADF, to finance the upgrading of the Kabale Lake Bunyonyi Soro Mugahinga Road project.
Madam Speaker.
Members, I see that only General Up. Let me hear from him first.
Madam Speaker, just prior to this, we would respectfully ask you, Madam Speaker, together with the members, that whereas a little earlier this afternoon, you had adjourned the Parliamentary Elections Amendment Bill 2020, number 24 of 2020, to tomorrow for us to engage in further consultations. Madam Speaker, we would like to report that we have had these consultations with all the parties involved, and after these consultations, we respectfully request that that bill be resumed for progress. Madam Speaker, please.
Now, members, the Parliamentary Elections Amendment Bill, Bills Committee stage.
Clause 3.
Clause 3.
I thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, under Clause 3, I propose to move an amendment under Clause 3, then 8HB. I propose to move, Madam Speaker, that the items starting on all members of a district council be numbered as 1, and therefore 8HB would read Electoral College within region of representation. 1, to read all members of a district council for older persons within each region shall constitute an electoral college for the election of the representative of the older person in Parliament for that region. And then, Madam Speaker, I propose to insert immediately after that subsection 1 a subsection 2, which will be, of course, 8HB and then subsection 2. And, Madam Speaker, I propose the subsection 2 to read as follows. For purposes of this section, district council for older persons means the district council for older persons as referred to under section 16 and 17 of the National Council for Older Persons Act of 2013. I beg to move, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, yes, Honourable
Attorney General, I would suggest instead of the word as referred to in that proposed amendment, we substitute the word as constituted in that particular law. Just use, replace the word referred to with the word constituted.
Members, put the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye. The contrary, no. Aye. I put the question that a new subclause be introduced as proposed. Those in favor say aye. The contrary, no. I have it.
Clause 3 as amended.
Put the question that clause 3 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye. The contrary, no. I have it.
The title.
Put the question that the title do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Motion for the House to resume.
Motion for the House? We are finished. No. Chikuteeko amaze kirowoozaako akirowoozezaako mukiteesezaako Otieno.
Madam Chairperson, when we increase the number of women to 2, we have a challenge of prescribing how the regions will elect the 2 women, because now they are 2 out of 5. So we have to come out clear which regions are going to elect.
But why don't we leave that to the Electoral Commission? They have to find the 2.
Madam Speaker, Madam Chair, after those amendments, I would like to beg to move now that the House resumes and the Committee of the Whole House reports there too.
Members, the question is the House do resume and the Committee of the Whole House report there too. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Madam Speaker, I beg to... Sorry.
Report from the Committee of the Whole House.
Honourable Minister, report.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the bill entitled the Parliamentary Elections Amendment Bill 2020 and passed it with amendments to Clause 3, 8 HB 1 and 2.
No, you forgot to report on 1.
Madam Speaker, I beg to report that Clause 1
was passed with amendments.
Was passed with amendments. That Clause 1 was passed with amendments, and that Clause 3 was also passed with amendments 8 HB 1 and 8 HB 2. Madam Speaker.
Motion for adoption.
Motion for adoption of the report from the Committee of the Whole House.
Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted.
Now, members, the question is that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted. Those in favour say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Bill third reading.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that Clause 1 of the bill be recommitted. And our justification, Right Honourable Madam Speaker, is to harmonize Clause 1 with Clause 3, 8HA and 8HE, where the 4 regions are represented by 1 representative each and 1 national representative reserved for a woman. Madam Speaker, if we create at least 2 women, there will be a big challenge of electing the 2 women, and this is in harmony with the previous elections of the persons with disabilities and the youth representatives in Parliament. Madam Speaker, this is an amendment that had been brought by Honourable Honourable Cecilia Ogwal.
Can we hear,
Speaker? Can we hear the proposal?
Speaker?
Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, Indeed, we had some consultations, and I have agreed that the practicability would be rather complicated. So I have conceded to the formulation as it is here, but however, I want to plead with the government to come up with a regulation that would empower the women to capture some seats from the regional level, as is being done with the persons with disability.
No.
It is important that some affirmative action be worked out, because, Right Honorable Speaker, if at the national level we only come with one woman, in a way we would not be in total compliance with the Constitution. So much as I have conceded, I feel that something must be done to equitably accommodate the women at the level of representation. Right Honorable Speaker.
No, Honour Members, sorry, I don't want to accept that, because you are institutionalizing the 4 regions to the men. That's what you are doing by law. Yes. Why don't you allow me to say what I want? Honour Members, you are saying that, Honour Members, the way the Honourable Ogwal said she's withdrawing because it's not possible, so you are saying the 4 are for the men, only 1 is for the women. Yes, that's what you are saying. Now, yes.
Madam Speaker, I can clarify on that, Right Honourable Speaker. For example, that's how it is in workers. But the other 4 positions are competitive. And for example, workers, we have 2 female representatives and 3 male representatives. Because other 4 positions are competitive and a woman can compete with us and win us, we may find even all are women without question. So I think Right Honourable Speaker would go with this proposal because it is workable and it does not bar other women to compete. Thank you so much.
So we still maintain the amendment? At least 2, yes.
Madam Speaker.
They will be found. They will be found.
Madam Speaker, and when I was saying that we had discussed and reconciled, we looked for a way. Because we already have the 4 regions, we have ring-fenced for national, for the woman MP, national. Now, on the 4 regions, that's what we discussed with Honorable Ogwal. It is open. Because we couldn't find any other way to accommodate that second ring-fenced position for the woman. So the fact that, so hypothetically, Madam Speaker, those 4 positions can be won by women. All the 4 positions can be won by women. But the point is that we have ring-fenced 1, but for the 4, they are open for open competition, Madam Speaker. And that's what we reconciled.
Madam Speaker, I want to disagree with the Attorney General. The practicability of that is very difficult. Because you know very well that the men are more advantaged. Because you know the policy of today is about resources. They are going to outdo the women during the campaigns. So, Madam Speaker, for me, if the elections was national, Madam Speaker, if the elections were national, it would have been possibly easy, such that you can get the first, the woman with the highest votes, with the second highest votes, then you can pick the others. But if it is, if the elections are going to be done at a regional level, it will be complicated. That's why, Madam Speaker, I had agreed with you earlier, such that we would have gone back, go through this tonight or tomorrow morning and come back, but not to hurry it. Possibly we would have been able to come up with a more clear and concrete way. But if we left it the way it's being done now, I bet anything, you can end up with all the men. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
I wanted to give myself as an example that there's a precedent in this House, Madam Speaker, since 1996. We have had 2 women with disabilities and 3 men. The other regions are left to the competition, even the youth. Honorable Amoding was representing youth. Honorable Anita was representing Northern Region. We have the current youth. We have Adeke as the female youth. we have Kitio as the central region. So, Madam Speaker, according to how the regulations come, and I want to believe that women are empowered now, they can even take all the positions. And I'm telling you now, as disabled people, me and my gender actives, I'm telling the women, come out and stand. Nobody's blocking you. And there's nobody who's going to ring face that this is only for men. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. We have this already in practice.
So what is your proposal?
Because I want it to be like, we have one female youth, which is one older person, a female who's ring-fenced.
So you are saying we should go back to the original proposal?
Yeah, the regional composition, but the regulations will bring the issue of gender out. The women will be given practice and they will depend on how they will mobilize. And usually what you do, when you are bringing the college, you will have the women in that college so that they can be convinced by other women to get elected. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Okay, Bills Committee stage. Oh, Honourable Ketayot? Oh, let's hear Ketayot.
Bills Committee stage.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. What Honourable Asamo Helen has brought out is clear. It has worked out because the elections take place at national level. But for this case, this particular case we have on table, the elections are supposed to take place at regional level. So how will the balancing take place? Unless we introduce that, the elections also take place at national level, I think what Honourable Asamo has explained may not work out. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, the example given was very clear. She gave example of disability and at the same time gave example of the youth election. The youth election takes place at a regional level. And that does not stop the people for electing a woman from a region to come as a representative of the elderly. So that means if we maintain what is already in the bill, by maintaining one position, at least one position, doesn't stop women from competing for other positions. So that would be okay. The chances are clear that the voters are not only men, because if you go to my district in Amuro, the district council of elderly will not be only men. It will be women and men. So for the same time, the people who are men and women, who are elderly, can even compete for those positions at regional level. While we have ring-fenced one position already for national level. So we can get another woman coming from the east, or another woman coming from the west, or even from the central. So I think there is no problem about that.
Honourable Members, Bills Committee stage.
Amina. Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
Clause 1. Minister. Clause 1.
Up next on UBC, brought to you by Airtel TV, a world of entertainment on your phone. No ad interruptions, no subscription fees. Download the app for free now from Google Play and App Store. Terms and conditions apply.